Well, I'm Chuck Lamson. This is Take a Hike, my YouTube channel. Welcome. Today I'm going to talk about a hike that I've actually took a couple of days ago. This is kind of the preamble to that hike, and I'm inside of my garage because one of the reasons I took this hike is I'm practicing and trying to build up my strength and stamina for a bigger hike I'm going to do towards the end of the summer, what's called the Wonderland Trail. It's almost 100 miles circumnavigating Mount Rainier in Oregon. So I have I'm trying to lighten up my gear a bit, so I have a new backpack. It's the Exos backpack, the 58-liter model from Osprey. I previously had an Atmos 60-liter, and it's about 2 pounds lighter. This backpack is slightly under 3 pounds, this new one. The other one was about 5 pounds. So I wanted to test it out, and I loaded it up with my normal backpacking gear, my tent, sleeping bag, cooking gear, some food, and so on, so that it had approximate weight for a 2 or 3 day hike. And I just wanted to get it adjusted and see how it worked out. This is the backpack. That's why I'm in my garage. It's hanging here. That's where I always hang it. It's the Exos 58. And I just wanted to see if I could get it adjusted out and how it carried the load and how comfortable it is. I've read a lot of reviews on it beforehand to make sure it's what I wanted. And so that will be one of the things I'll comment on at the end of the hike. Okay, we will head for the trail. Very soon we will see the Silver Lake Flat Lake. So that's the dam right there. See a couple of four-wheel drive vehicles right here. There's the lake. So this is Silver Lake Flat Lake. It's pretty full. Looks like they filled up the reservoir. There's been a lot of snow and a lot of runoff this year. Good fishing spot. I come up here every year and fish in that lake a couple times a year. And then at the far end of the lake, the road is very rough. At the far end of the lake, there's a parking lot, and that's the trailhead. Okay, we're leaving the trailhead. It starts off as a nice gentle trail here, nice and wide, and looks like there's a tree across the trail up ahead of us, but normally very well maintained, shaded by all these quakies. It's a little more exposed to the sun as we get up higher and a bit more rocky and steep, but it continually goes up, up, and up. Starts out, I think my Gaia app says we're about 7,500 feet right here at the trailhead. And I think the lake is about 9,000 feet. So what's that? 1,500 feet. We'll go up in something like 2.5 miles of trail. So steep, but not excessively steep. This is the first stream crossing. There's a nice log across here. This one's not going to be very treacherous. Now, many of you will recognize this plant if you've done much gardening. You see quite a number of them here, kind of spread out, and the little blossoms on them. That's a wild strawberry. I don't know if they're native or somehow they got up here, but I've encountered them before. Sometimes they have little teeny strawberries on them that are so sweet and good. And just interesting thing, I was way up in the Himalayas in Nepal, and there was wild strawberries, and they were bearing fruit. So you see these quite a lot in alpine areas. All right, I think I'll try to walk slowly and talk a little bit while I'm on this part of the trail. I'm still on the first mile, but I'm starting to see the granite cliffs and the snow-capped mountains up ahead of me. Maybe I'll just talk a little bit about solo hiking. I do a lot of solo hiking mainly because, you know, I'm retired now. I hike during the week mainly, and so probably half the time I'm just by myself. If it's on a weekend, I can usually get someone to go with me. So I know it can be a little bit scary to be out in the woods all by yourself. I haven't seen anybody else on the trail this morning. There may be no one else up here, I don't know. But it's just a matter of, I think, growing accustomed to being outside by yourself, alone in these places. When I started doing this solo hiking stuff, I remember I was on a very familiar trail, very close to home. I got up there to the point where the trail diverged onto a little small trail that went up to First and Second Hemagog. That was off the Dry Creek Trail. And then I really was by myself. It's a trail that's not traveled very often. It was just a very small, almost like a game trail, overgrown. So I was making my way through there, and after half a mile or so, I could hear something on the trail behind me. And so I stopped, looked back, and there was nothing there. So I thought, I'm just imagining things. So I kept going, got a little further, and again, I could hear something following me on the trail. At that point, I began to be worried a little bit that maybe there was a mountain lion back there. Where I live, there are a lot of mule deer, and where there are a lot of mule deer out here in the west, there's usually mountain lions that feed off of those herds. And so it worried me a little bit. And so the next time, I got to a big clearing. And I got out there in the clearing, and I looked back. There was a couple of does back there on the same trail I was on. And I think they were just waiting for me to get far enough ahead of them that they felt safe to go further on the trail. So, you know, and that's usually what it is. We work ourselves up into a little bit of fear when really there's nothing to be afraid of. I do carry bear spray with me. I carry the satellite communicator. I go on trails that are well traveled if I'm by myself. So I'm pretty cautious, but again, it's just a matter of getting used to the feeling of being alone out here. And when you do that, then something special happens. You start to feel kind of at peace out here. For me, I just have to get out. Winter, summer, fall, see the changes and everything. That's where we came from. The trailhead's down there at, what's it called? Silver Lake Flats. We're almost halfway. We've gone over a mile, just did a stream crossing down there. I'll get a picture of it on the way back. There was too many people there, but you can kind of see the stream coming down the mountain. It comes from the dam, which is up even further. You can't really see it from here. But yeah, that's the stream coming out of the lake that we're going to. Beautiful day. Mount Timpanogos is over there. A lot of snow right now. I will probably try to hike that later this summer when most of the snow has gone off the trail. Well, I made it to Silver Lake. That's what you see right behind me. It's beautiful here. Still frozen over, mostly. There's the mountains that surround this lake. Still a lot of snow on them. And it's quite warm. It's probably 75 degrees or more up here. And you can see patches of water out there. See, I'm walking on snow. I'll get a little closer. Campfire that somebody had. So I'll get up a little closer here to the lake. There's the trail that goes around the lake. I'm going to go over here and get a good view of things. See, it's just starting to ice off now. So, had I known there would be this much ice off, I would have brought my fishing pole. Maybe catch a. Some video of the trail on the way down. So in a single glance, I'm seeing an abundance of wildflowers. There's some kind of yellow one. Here's a different yellow one, a little bit wilted. And then all these bushes have these little white flowers on them. And then you got these purple ones everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's these beautiful wildflowers. And then you got the mountains and the trees to look at. Well, I just realized it's been a couple of days since I finished that hike to Silver Lake, and just realized I haven't really done the wrap-up video, so here it is. Just wanted to touch on a couple of things. I started talking on the trail about solo hiking and solo camping, and how that if you really feel comfortable in the wilderness, in the wild, that it's a very special feeling. And thinking about that more, I think it's partly because in nature, you're in an environment, if you get out into the wild, the kind of the untouched wilderness, you find places that have grown together for thousands, if not millions of years. Those plants, animals, landscape, weather patterns have all been in that state for a very long time and have come to a state of harmony. And we sense that when we're out there. And in fact, we are a part of it, and we can feel a part of it. And we can feel that communion with nature and the peace that it brings to our souls, because we are part of that. So I wanted to mention that. Hopefully that's good motivation to get outdoors into the wild places and spend some time hiking and other activities in the outdoors. The other thing I wanted to mention is follow up on is I did mention that I was carrying a new backpack with me. I've had my Atmos 60-liter pack for a long time, and this one I took it out there just for practice. I loaded it up with most of my supplies that I would have for an overnight hike, and just to carry it and get it adjusted and see how it felt. So let me just follow up on that for a minute. This is the pack over here. Very pretty color. I think it's called tungsten gray. I love it. Against the 58-liter model Exos. And one of the things that I really liked was, of course, this suspension. This is the Airspeed suspension. Osprey is famous for making these suspensions very nice. This one in particular, if I look right here, you can see kind of a firm part of this trampoline. They've reinforced it. And it's very nice. It lands on your back and it's very comfortable. These pads that wrap around your waist where the strap is are also very comfortable. And in fact, they distribute the weight of the pack along your waist very well. I could not feel any weight on my back or my shoulders. It was all resting on my hips. And I could make some slight adjustments as I went and shift the weight a little bit. So that was really nice. This trampoline here keeps the backpack well away from your back, so you don't get any pressure on your back or spine, and you don't sweat. It keeps your back air conditioned. The shoulder straps were very comfortable. They're nicely padded, although they're very lightweight. Didn't experience any shoulder pain, which sometimes I do when I'm backpacking. So all that whole system worked out very, very well. Another thing that was nice for me is, you see this has pockets on the belt, one on each side. Well, on my old Atmos backpack, these pockets wound up on the front of my hip. In this case, they're further back, and they actually wind up on the back of my hip, and they don't protrude as far, especially near the front. So the problem I had with the old ones is they would, if I wore short sleeve shirt, they would sometimes rub a sore spot on my arm. As I swing it back and forth, it would hit that zipper. These are far enough back and narrow enough that they don't hit. So much more comfortable in that respect. And then one other thing to comment on is it has these nice pockets here on the side where you can put a water bottle or, a sit pad or whatever you want in there. On the sides. I use those for water bottles because I don't like to use one of those bladders that you suck through a hose for some reason. I can taste the plastic all the time. So I carry a 1 liter water bottle, but these have a little bit of a problem because this zigzag line here is a compression strap that's used to adjust the volume of the pack to whatever load you have, and unfortunately they go right across the top of that area, and when the pack is full, it's really hard to get a bottle in and out of that. So you can do it and not a major problem, but I just thought I'd mention it. A lot of people have complained about that. So that's it. I'll wrap up this video with that. Again, it was the hike to Silver Lake from Silver Lake Flats in American Fork Canyon. About 5 miles round trip, about 1,500 feet of elevation gain. Nice little hike, and especially if you're in Utah County or Salt Lake County, pretty easy to get to, and very enjoyable hike. So, happy trails. That's it for today.